What if I told you that the real reason senior men don't care about women anymore has nothing to do with anger, bitterness, or losing interest in love, and everything to do with something women never expected? Because right now, thousands of older men are quietly stepping back, not because they can't date, not because they're tired, but because they finally see the truth. And once you see this truth, you can never unsee it. If you're a man over 50 or 60, what I'm about to explain will feel uncomfortably familiar, almost like someone finally put words to feelings you've carried for decades. For many senior men, the shift didn't happen overnight. It wasn't one specific breakup or disappointment. It wasn't a sudden decision to stop caring about women. Instead, it was years of observing, learning, growing, and understanding how relationships really work, especially the modern ones. As you age, clarity sharpens. You see patterns you overlooked when you were younger. You notice behaviors that once seemed normal, but now carry a deeper meaning. You recognize what brings peace into your life and what destroys it. Most men don't talk about these things. Senior men especially are quiet, private. They don't make emotional speeches or hashtag videos online. Instead, they withdraw slowly, silently, step by step. And if anyone asks, they give simple answers like, "I'm fine. I'm focusing on myself," or "I'm not interested right now." But the truth is far more complex. The truth is that senior men have finally reached a stage in life where their emotional energy is too valuable to waste, their peace too precious to disturb, and their time too limited to gamble. One of the biggest reasons senior men stop caring about women is something almost no woman sees coming: the realization that life without romantic drama is unbelievably peaceful. After 50, 60, and beyond, a man's priorities change. He no longer needs to prove himself. He no longer needs validation. He no longer measures his worth based on whether a woman approves of him. Instead, he begins valuing something far more important: his mental and emotional stability. Younger men chase love because they think it will complete them. Senior men, however, have lived long enough to know that love can be fulfilling, but it can also bring stress, expectations, responsibility, and sometimes emotional chaos. And many reach a point where they say, "Is it worth it anymore?" For decades, men were taught to pursue, impress, provide, and sacrifice. But somewhere around midlife, the mask falls off. A man realizes he has spent so much of his life giving, supporting, and trying to keep others happy while rarely getting the same level of effort in return. Women often don't see this because society focuses heavily on women's needs, women's emotions, women's expectations. But a quiet truth exists in the background. Many senior men feel unseen, not unloved, unseen. Their sacrifices unnoticed, their loyalty underappreciated, their value questioned or taken for granted. And instead of fighting for recognition, instead of arguing, instead of trying to prove what they offer, they simply stop caring. Not out of anger, out of exhaustion. Another major reason senior men disconnect from women is because they finally learn the difference between companionship and chaos. When a man is young, he tolerates red flags. He tolerates mood swings, emotional manipulation, unnecessary arguments, and inconsistent behavior. He tolerates disrespect because he thinks love means enduring everything. But a 60-year-old man, he's not playing those games. He knows that peace is more important than passion, that stability is more valuable than excitement, and that affection without respect is worthless. And the moment a woman brings unnecessary conflict into his life, he disconnects internally. He may stay polite, he may stay friendly, but emotionally, he steps away permanently. There's also the reality of modern relationship dynamics. Many older men look at dating today and feel it is no longer built for them. Women have different expectations. The culture has shifted. Feminine energy and masculine energy have changed roles dramatically. What once felt natural, men leading women, appreciating both, complementing each other, now feels lopsided. Many senior men no longer see the benefits of entering a relationship where they are expected to provide, protect, plan, and lead while receiving little softness, loyalty, or appreciation in return. And the truth is, senior men are no longer afraid to walk away from that type of imbalance. They've lived long enough to know when a relationship is built on equal effort and when it's not. One of the deepest truths is something very personal to men. As they age, they crave peace more than anything else. A younger man wants adventure. A middle-aged man wants stability. But a senior man, he wants peace. He wants someone who adds to his life, not someone who drains it. Someone who brings calm, not confusion. Someone who respects his boundaries, not someone who tests them. Once a man reaches that level of clarity, he starts examining women differently. He no longer cares about beauty, flirting, attention, or temporary attraction. He looks for only one thing: peace. And if a woman doesn't bring that, he simply loses interest. Many senior men also stop caring because they finally understand a difficult but liberating truth. They don't need a woman to be happy. They may enjoy companionship, but they no longer depend on it. Their sense of identity is no longer tied to being a husband, boyfriend, or provider. They've built careers, raised families, survived hardships, and accumulated wisdom. They've discovered passions, hobbies, routines, and friendships that bring them fulfillment. Unlike younger men who feel incomplete without love, senior men realize their happiness is self-created, not woman-dependent. This is a powerful shift, and women rarely expect it. There's also something women often misunderstand. Men love deeply, but they detach silently. A woman may think a senior man no longer cares, but the truth is he once cared too much. He once gave too much. He once ignored his own needs to prioritize others. And at some point he learned his lesson. Senior men are not cold. They are careful. They are not uninterested. They are selective. They are not bitter. They are protective of their peace. And when a man becomes selective, he naturally stops caring about superficial connections and temporary relationships. He becomes more spiritual, more introspective, more focused on what truly matters. Another reason senior men stop caring about women is because they no longer tolerate disrespect, especially subtle disrespect. Many older men experienced years of being told that their feelings didn't matter, that their opinions were outdated, that their masculinity was toxic, or that they were replaceable. But with age comes self-value. A senior man refuses to be treated like a backup plan or an emotional wallet. If a woman brings entitlement, demands, or disrespect into the relationship, he quietly walks away. He doesn't shout. He doesn't argue. He simply chooses himself. This shocks many women because they grew up believing men always chase, always try harder, always come back. But senior men, they don't come back. Once peace is broken, they leave for good. There's also the loneliness paradox. Many people assume that senior men are afraid of being alone. But in reality, many older men discover that solitude is healing. Silence is refreshing. Living life on their own schedule with no arguments, no expectations, no emotional pressure. It feels like oxygen. Women often say they want independence, but senior men actually live it. They travel alone. They cook alone. They relax alone. And eventually they fall in love with that freedom. Once a man truly enjoys solitude, he becomes extremely selective about letting anyone back into his life. At this stage in life, senior men don't care about impressing women anymore. They don't chase. They don't beg. They don't perform. They don't sacrifice their peace to win approval. They understand that the right woman will meet them halfway effortlessly. She will bring softness, appreciation, respect, and emotional calm. She will add to his life, not complicate it. And if she doesn't, he simply doesn't care to pursue anything further. Another powerful reason senior men don't care about women anymore is because they finally understand something they ignored in their younger years. Not every woman is looking for love. Some are looking for comfort, convenience, security, or emotional attention, but not real partnership. Many senior men have been through relationships where they gave everything: time, money, effort, loyalty, only to realize the woman wasn't committed to the same degree. After enough disappointment, a man begins to protect himself. He becomes aware of patterns he once brushed off. He becomes sharper, smarter, and far less willing to invest in someone who does not invest equally. And once a man reaches that maturity, he doesn't go back to blind giving. He stops caring about proving himself because he knows his value. If a woman cannot see it, he simply walks away without a second thought. Senior men also stop caring because they've lived long enough to see how relationship dynamics shift with age. They begin to observe that many women become more selective, more demanding, or more guarded as they get older, while men begin to look for simplicity and companionship instead of intensity. A senior man doesn't want to be interrogated. He doesn't want to be tested. He doesn't want to be controlled, judged, or molded. He wants a woman who accepts him as he is. At this age, a man is not interested in being fixed, improved, or criticized. He has survived too much, learned too much, and built too much to allow someone to reshape him. Younger women sometimes try to change a man, but senior women often do it subtly, through expectations, complaints, or emotional pressure. And senior men, despite their calm nature, hate this. They stop caring because they know peace does not come from being someone else's project. Another quiet truth is that older men have learned how fragile life is. By the time a man reaches 50, 60, or 70, he has likely experienced loss. Parents, friends, relationships, opportunities. Moments like these create a shift in a man's priorities. He no longer wastes energy on drama. He no longer argues for the sake of arguing. He no longer forces connections that drain him. When you know you only have so many years left, you begin choosing happiness over obligation. You choose peace over chaos. You choose freedom over stress. And many senior men realize that some relationships, especially the unhealthy ones, reduce the quality of their remaining years rather than enhance them. This is why they become emotionally detached, not because they don't care about women, but because they care about themselves more than they ever have before. There is also the financial truth that many older men understand deeply, but rarely talk about. When you're young, money seems limitless. You believe you'll earn it back, recover financially, rebuild. But as you age, you become protective of your savings, your investments, your retirement funds. Many senior men have worked decades to build financial stability. They've struggled, sacrificed, and planned. They're not interested in entering relationships that introduce financial pressure, imbalance, or dependency. When a man feels he is being valued for what he provides rather than who he is, he instantly checks out emotionally. Senior men feel this more than women realize. The moment a woman's interest feels transactional, his desire fades completely. And this is not bitterness, it's instinct. A senior man has no desire to be used, drained, or financially burdened. He wants love, not responsibility disguised as romance. Another major reason senior men stop caring is because they've learned the power of emotional boundaries. When they were younger, they might have tolerated emotional guilt trips, passive-aggressive remarks, silent treatments, or manipulative tactics. But older men, they shut it down immediately. They have no patience for emotional games. They value direct communication, honesty, and calmness. If a woman cannot communicate like an adult, he disconnects. If she argues to win instead of understand, he withdraws. If she uses emotion as a weapon, he walks away. Modern dating is full of emotional confusion, and senior men avoid it like a plague. They want clarity, they want maturity, they want peace. And when those things aren't present, they lose interest instantly. Another reason senior men disconnect is because they've developed emotional self-sufficiency. Younger men often rely on women for emotional support, validation, or comfort. But older men have learned how to handle their emotions internally. They've developed routines that ground them. Walks, work, hobbies, sports, reading, music, spirituality. Their emotional life becomes private, independent, and stable. When a man can regulate his own emotions, he no longer needs a woman to soothe him. And once he stops needing emotional nurturing, he stops tolerating emotional drama. Emotional independence is the true reason so many senior men feel content alone. They don't feel empty without a partner, they feel peaceful. There's also the truth about expectations. Many senior men stop caring about women because they are tired of feeling that relationships require them to constantly perform. Perform emotionally, perform financially, perform socially, perform romantically. Many women expect men to be consistent, strong, stable, expressive, driven, romantic, and emotionally available, all while being providers, problem solvers, and protectors. Senior men have carried these expectations their whole lives, and when they finally release them, they feel a freedom they haven't felt since youth. They don't want a relationship where they must be on all the time. They want someone who allows them to relax, be human, be imperfect. When they don't find that, they quietly choose a life without unnecessary pressure. Many senior men also stop caring because they feel relationships are not balanced in today's world. A man often has to impress a woman, prove his worth, initiate conversations, plan dates, pay for outings, show effort, and be reliable. Meanwhile, many women believe simply being present is enough. This imbalance becomes obvious with age. Older men have lived long enough to see when effort is equal and when it's not. And the modern dating environment often feels like a one-sided job interview where men are tested more than appreciated. Senior men don't chase unfairness. Once they feel the dynamic is imbalanced, their emotions disconnect naturally. There is also a deep spiritual reason many senior men stop caring: inner peace. As men age, they often become more reflective. They think about their legacy, their purpose, their spiritual growth. They prioritize their mental health, their calm, and their inner strength. Drama becomes irritating, arguments become meaningless, and emotional turbulence becomes intolerable. A peaceful home, a healthy mind, and a simple life become more important than romance. Many senior men discover they don't need a woman to complete their life, just someone who doesn't complicate it. Another unexpected reason senior men stop caring is because they finally learn to love themselves. It sounds simple, but many men go their entire lives without truly practicing self-respect. They put others first. They hide their pain. They sacrifice quietly. They endure silently. But as they age, they begin to honor their own needs. They set boundaries. They say no. They walk away. They choose environments that feel good. This self-love leads to emotional detachment from anything that feels draining, including difficult relationships. A man who respects himself deeply will never chase someone who does not respect him back. But perhaps the biggest truth of all is this: senior men don't stop caring about women. They stop caring about the wrong women. They stop caring about negativity, disrespect, drama, entitlement, manipulation, and emotional chaos. They stop caring about relationships that demand effort without appreciation. They stop caring about women who take more than they give. They stop caring about situations that waste their time, their money, and their peace. What senior men truly want is connection, but only with someone who brings calmness, respect, gratitude, and emotional stability. In the end, senior men are not cold. They are not distant. They are not uninterested. They are evolved. They are wiser, calmer, and more aware of what truly matters. They know what they offer: experience, loyalty, wisdom, protection, emotional steadiness, and mature love. But they also know one thing women rarely expect: senior men are willing to walk away from anything that threatens their peace, and once a man reaches that mindset, he does not chase, he does not argue, and he does not return. He simply moves forward with or without a woman beside.